Namaste, Vitruvians. Welcome to yet another Spotlight. I'm Nick Kalyani, founder and CEO, and with me is Mike Purdy, COO. Glad to see you all again. How's everyone doing? I see a lot of people here.
Yeah, good
Let's
morning,
see.
everybody. Good to see everybody, or good day, whatever time it is for you guys.
Yeah. StreamYard is reporting an error on a few things, so let's see what's going on here and make sure we correct that. Okay, there we go. Fix the problem. All right, cool. So, Mike, we had a monster flashlight just Wednesday, was it? Yeah, Wednesday. Everything blends into one. So,
It was
and we
2 days ago.
shared a lot. I think that was our I don't know biggest news announcement, new things announcement session we've ever done. So it was amazing.
Yeah, it was a fan favorite. Everybody, the feedback that we got, Discord, everybody was super excited. I think they got the big picture. It's always good when you can, when you're launching a product to really establish the brand and kind of deliver kind of a roadmap, a big picture thing. And I think everybody was able to get excited about it, which is great. I was worried that we wouldn't have a lot to talk about today, but I'm completely wrong. We have plenty to talk about today,
It
as
always
well as a
ends up that
recap
way.
from
Like
Wednesday.
we start in the morning like with an empty deck or whatever, and then we're like, okay, we have nothing, and then boom, later
Yeah,
it's tons of content.
yeah.
Yeah. We will go over some of the things we talked about in the flashlight again here toward the end of it, just because not everyone, because of the time zone, could attend, but we'll be a little more brief about it. But it is interesting news, so we do want to repeat it. All right, I think with that we'll just get going because we've got a lot to talk about. So welcome everyone to season 6, episode 3 of the Vitruveo Spotlight. It's January 17, 2025. I'm Nick Kalyani, and with me is Mike Purdy, and we're excited to talk about the events of the past week and about all the new things that are about to come in the upcoming week. So let's get started. First up is a protocol update. Yes, we are way behind on it. I understand, but we've had so many competing priorities. It's been really hard, but I'm very pleased to report that our current build has passed the accelerated time rebase testing. What that means is, we've got essentially a rebase in the protocol where it happens every epoch, which is every day basically. But we can't during testing just wait for days and days, right? So we have what's essentially accelerated. So we make it where an hour represents one day, and so then that way we can test things out much faster. So that's passed. Now we are doing the same test on DevNet, but we are doing in real time. We'll probably do that for 3 or 4 days because again, it's real time. So we actually have to wait for that time to elapse. And then the next steps are we'll do concurrent testnet and some VTech folks testing. They have been waiting very patiently for us to get this to this point, and I apologize for all the delays, but there were so many conflicting priorities, and this just kind of fell down a little bit. But we are on top of it now, and we're going to keep going. We're still looking to start a rollout at the end of this month because we do want to get those rebases going. So that's our protocol update. Next up is what I think all of you always want to hear about is what is the status of our centralized exchange listing. So just want to walk you through some of the prerequisites. We needed to, because of the revised strategy of listing directly Vitru token from either BSC or Ethereum, that bridge had to be built, and I'm pleased to report that now it's been a fair number of weeks, and it has been working well. No issues there. So that is a green check. We are actively working on reducing circulating supply. What happened? There we
Sorry
go.
about that. That was me.
Right, no worries. We are actively working on reducing our circulating supply, and you see that mentioned in pretty much every conversation we have, and dominates, a lot of the Discord posts and things like that. And we are going to talk about it in depth today, also because it is so critical. It is like one of the most critical things to a successful listing for us. And the final thing is listing and liquidity fees. So we are working on getting the seed capital in order to make sure that we can cover those fees. So that is what a to-do for us for this week. So coming up, basically, once we have that seed capital, we will finalize the chain decision we have to decide exactly which chain we are going to connect with on the exchange, because we are not doing an integration at this point. We are doing it via the bridge. And finally, sign the contract. So that is on tap for this week. We're keeping our fingers crossed that nothing gets in the way. I don't think there's anything that's going to be a showstopper other than the capital. So as long as the capital is in place, we should be able to move forward with this, and we are very excited about it because we want to deliver on our commitment to get to that centralized exchange as quickly as possible. Okay, next up, I've introduced this slide here because I want to make sure that we address all the questions that keep coming up. Is, can I claim this? This is, I claim, but it doesn't work, etc. So here's a straight up status on all the different services. So Vibe claims, no problem, it should work. I'll just say it overarchingly, no rebases will work right now. That is something that we will implement once the protocol as rebase is going, and then every claim that you make will automatically include rebases. So just know that for right now, the answer to do I also get a rebase right now is no. It's a feature that will be implemented in scope as we actually deploy the protocol change. Vesting claims have been paused. This is to control our circulating supply, and Mike's gonna talk about that in just a minute. So your questions about that will be answered momentarily. We have VITRUVEO staking for Verse enabled, and we now also have VITRO staking for Verse enabled, albeit it is currently implemented as a swap, and it will be modified into a stake. It'll be converted rather into a stake pending a new VITRO staking contract. More on that also in a little bit. Those who attended the flashlight are already aware of it, but not everyone might have, and so we'll give you that news. And finally, our Creator Vault claims are also active. You can claim 5% to your wallet right now, and the rest has to be staked. We've also introduced Verse staking in there, so you can stake all of whatever amount you want into Verse if you so desire. That 5% restriction isn't going away. It has been a very effective tool in helping us to control the circulating supply, because we saw a large number of artists who really don't care about the ecosystem so much, who were putting some overpriced artworks up front, and then really taking advantage of the fact that we had some VUSD credits, and essentially dumping on that and really negatively impacting the price. But since we've had the restriction, things have been well controlled, and I'll share some more details about that in just a moment. Okay, next up, we've been talking so much about circulating supply, and in my slide related to the centralized exchange listing, I dwell on the fact that controlling that circulating supply is a key strategic initiative we have going right now. And one of the things we do is, in order to make that successful, is to monitor balances and figure out exactly what's going on, and what the lay of the land is. So this balance analysis tells you a little bit more detail here. So this is a very high level, very cursory wallet balance analysis. It gives you a breakdown of the number of wallets and the types of balances they have in there. So you can see the distribution there is that obviously as we get from high to low, the numbers increase. But the aggregate of this is that 125 wallets approximately, like I said, this is a very high level analysis, and it changes because people keep moving funds, etc. Approximately 125 wallets have about 3.7 million of the circulating supply. So in terms of the supply, let's look at the numbers here. So we got a circulating supply right now of 7.6 million out of a total supply of 60 million, and a max supply in about 5 years of 250 million. Of this 7.6, about 1.7 is in the bridge or in wrapped. So how is this 7.6 derived? Well, if you look down here, there's a bunch of different balances. There's locked balances, contract balances, reserve balances. And what we do is we essentially subtract all of these numbers, because these are controlled, what we would call control balances. So if you look here, whatever is in staked is locked, whatever is investing is locked, whatever is in vaults, 95% of is locked. Also, The contract balances, they are more dynamic, but also controlled in a lot of ways. So we've got VUSD collateral, we've got VEO, which is a holding ground there. That will probably move back into the treasury next week. We've got the bridged and the wrap funds. So if you add these two up, it should be where's that number? There we go. This number here, 1.7 million, is what it should add up to approximately. And yeah, if you look at add those two, that, and then we have Vibe also, and then also we have some reserve balances. These include perks, treasury, validators. It also includes my wallet here, which is essentially a Vibe gift, where I'm committed to giving 1,000 Vibe, 1,000 Vitru per day into the Vibe rev share pool. And then we have a perks pool, which is where some of the funds from this were moved by the protocol into a pool. We'll move them back very soon, but until that, we've identified it there. And then we based upon that, this amounts for, I believe, about 13, maybe 14 accounts of the top ones that are in Explorer. So if you go and look at the top accounts, that's all of them. And by the way, you can click on any of these. So for example, you can click on these and it will take you, it'll take you right to that particular balance. But this information is derived from top accounts. So if you look here, the top approximately 12 or 13 are already accounted for here, and the rest account towards the greater than 50K balance. So there's 18 of them with a total of 2.2 million, and the largest one is 459. So this gives you some visibility into what is happening, and it helps you understand what is here. Now, none of these balances here are from the known accounts, from the known and handled balances, the controlled balances, if you will. So these are all uncontrolled wallets belonging to individual users. So basically, the net of it is approximately half, well, 49% is in about 125 wallets, and that's out of total circulating of 7.6 million, as you saw. So that's a little bit of insight into the analysis. Now, the next thing I wanted to do is give you a little bit more insight into the creator vaults. So since we imposed the limitations on withdrawal, I'm very pleased to report that the creator vault situation is well under control. So the total balance of all the creator vaults is 402 Vitru. Now, going back, let me go back a slide here. Actually, no, let me go to scope. Out of this, so you can essentially, subtract that, and it's already done because we've already taken out the 300. There it is, 380K. We consider now a controlled number, so it's already been taken out of this number. So 402K is in there. The reason that the scope reports slightly less is it reports 95% of this number, because any artist at any time can withdraw 5%. But the rules are that when they do a claim, they have to extract 100% of the wallet. They cannot do piecemeal where they get a little bit at a time. It's all or nothing. So the maximum potential impact on supply as a result of that 5% potential is just 20K Vitru. It's a very small number. And of these vaults, only 11 vaults have more than 5K Vitru there. So it's a very small number from a very large number of vaults. So again, to summarize, out of this 402K, the potential impact for the challenge, the 20 million challenge, is 382K. So what I mean by this is, artists, you have an opportunity here to really help out the community, our community, your community, and by going ahead and making that claim. So if you go ahead and claim your balance, you get 5% into your wallet and you stake for Verse, it increases the number that we are trying to get to. So if you look here, we are trying to get this number to 20 million. It's 17.3 million right now. And you could reduce this number, this 2.7 number, by 380K if you would all go and do your claims right now and stake as much as possible. We would prefer that you stake 100%, but even the 95%, we'll take that. So that will help move the needle quite a bit, and it benefits you, as you're going to see later. It gets you more income long term, and it really is beneficial, because in addition you also get the third party Sabong Evolution token. So if you can, go to your studio today, go and hit that claim button. Now more than anything, it is more valuable to the community for you to stake your Vitru rather than leave it sitting in your vault. Sitting in your vault, it's doing nothing. It is not earning you rebases right now, because we are not rebasing. But if you were to go ahead and claim and get that into stake, what's going to happen is you're going to be airdropped more tokens, and you're going to also get some of the verse benefit, which is our movie vertical benefit. So if you're a creator and you got a balance in your vault, let's move it to stake, guys. It's an important thing, important action you can take to help support our community. All right, next up, some scope changes that are coming. We see a lot of questions in Discord about whose wallet is what, etc. So we're going to automate that, and in scope we will have essentially information about the top wallets with their Discord usernames where possible. So wherever we can connect, we'll do that, and we'll also put the top vaults with their X names there, so it's clear to everybody. This is information that's already public, so it's not like we're doing anything exciting or interesting here. We're just putting it in one place. We'll also include down level wallets, because one of the strategies that many people employ in order to essentially not be in the top wallets is to essentially split that up. And we want to be very transparent and open and clear about it. So we'll grab those down level wallets also and show them as belonging to that individual. So that's coming up in scope. And again, everything, all of this we are doing here is towards one goal. We want to reduce that circulating supply. And to that effect, we want to make sure that it becomes an issue of communication. Many times people don't even know that they haven't been in Discord, etc., so they don't necessarily know. But with the full transparency, we have the ability for community members who might know them to reach out and say, hey, can you stake for us, please? Because it helps us. It helps out the whole community. It helps out the whole project, and helps us have a really successful centralized exchange listing. So those are things that we are very keen on. All right. So with that done, I think I'm going to turn it over to Mike here. Mike, if you pop back in, we're going to go and talk a little bit about more historical detail. So over to you, Mike. I'm going to hop off here.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, guys, I get a lot of questions, and the mods get a lot of questions on kind of our strategy, going to the list. And it's important to kind of understand our situation versus a traditional ICO or initial coin offering. Typically, this chart kind of demonstrates when you're going to come out with a new crypto project, what are the steps that have to happen, and what happens throughout these steps. Obviously, the first step is you have to define your project. Then you have to build a strong team, develop a token economy, so do the tokenomics. You choose a blockchain or platform. You develop the legal framework, create a marketing plan, build your community, conduct a pre-sale, launch the main sale, and then you have your post-ICO activities, which is typically scaling. So this is a typical ICO roadmap that you would do. If depending upon when you join this community, a large portion of this community came from a previous project, and that previous project did all of these steps, and so all of the liquidity was transferred over. And then we'll kind of touch on that on a later slide. Let's go next. So with a normal ICO, this graphic kind of demonstrates everything. Your first phase is you have a fundraising where you start off with a small community, you build it, you raise funds. Typically with an ICO, you might launch at maybe like a penny or something like that, or some arbitrary price. And every single day, let's say, as more people join the pre-sale, the price starts to increase. So it incentivizes those that are coming into the project to get as much as they can for a cheaper price. That way you can get a larger bag at a cheaper price. Money is raised during this point in USDC or Tether. And usually the coins are not issued at this time. Really, you're just buying the coins and raising the funds for the project. During that stage, you're building the community. So as the community is growing, the liquidity is growing, and the project continues to develop if it's not completed already. And then you have your sale or your token generating event. And that's where you have parity between the liquidity and the coin supply. And typically, what they recommend is around a 30% ratio between, let's say, depending upon your market cap, about 30% is kind of recommended for under 10 million for healthy trading. If there's a misbalance, you have a huge issue. You have price swings, you have all sorts of trading issues. One whale can come in and scoop it up. There's all of these issues that get created. So let's go next. So with the ICO, typically, how is the liquidity handled? Typically, the price at ICO, there's no coins. You don't have any coins. Everything is kind of locked. It, again, incentivizes you to get in early. As the price increases, as the community grows, you still, the liquidity's locked. Nothing can be done. And then at the price, you're launching at a much higher price than what you purchased in at. The coins are delivered, you have your TGE, and then you have free trading. And then it just kind of goes from there. So let's kind of take a brief history lesson here on what is the history of Vitruveo. So Vitruveo started, maybe a couple of years ago, and the important thing to understand is where did the community come from Vitruveo? Basically, we had a project that was called Seifu that, there was a fundraising. It was a very successful project at that time. A large community grew, a large market cap grew, liquidity was there, tokens were there, everything was going well. We then, the founder of that particular project wanted to start a blockchain. So the liquidity was sacrificed or transferred into a new blockchain, which was called SafeUX. From there, it was rebranded into Vulcan. And you have all of the liquidity was transferred from SafeUX into Vulcan. And then the liquidity was drained. The CEO of that previous project obviously took the funds, drained the liquidity, and left the project. So the Vulcan team was pretty much, they didn't know what to do. The funds are gone, and we have a blockchain, and we have a community that's scratching their heads going, what just happened? Let's go next. So what the solution was, the lead developer obviously was Nick. He stepped up and took the lead of the project. Basically, Adrian was the CMO, Nick was the CTO, or the developer. They basically adopted all of the community and took over the project with a new plan to fix the problem. That the solution of that problem was to launch a new blockchain with that community. And basically, that entire community was given free coins or free tokens for the new project. The problem is the coins were given for free, so there was no funding attached to them. There's no liquidity. This creates a massive supply issue, and due to the supply and liquidity imbalance. The second problem is that we needed to raise capital for development and liquidity. So basically what you have is, a new project. Coins are just given, not purchased, and there's no funding that's backing them. And that's what created the huge problem. All of those coins were vested for a period of time. And we felt that there was going to be enough time to, build everything out during that vesting period, to market, to go to market, all of that. And then in order to get VC capital, get additional funding for the liquidity. We'll go next. So when we look at our pre-list challenges or the challenges over the past 24 months, The first problem we had is we had development costs and burn rate. Well, this was solved by booster sales, by Vortex NFTs, and additional seed capital. So we solved that problem in order over the past 24 months to really build the blockchain, refine it, come up with our MVPs, and really have a go-to-market blockchain that we could put together. The second problem was the vesting was expiring before the SEX list. So what in essence is happening is all of these tokens that would normally be locked are now suddenly unlocked, and they're in the hands of the traders. This is a massive problem because there's no liquidity backing for those coins. So the solution that we came up with was, of course, VIBE, verse, staking, and supply restrictions. Those are the only things that you could really do is convert the traders or the coins from trading over to revenue sharing, which is, of course, VIBE and verse. Those are the engines that drive that. And over the past 6 months, we've been really focused on staking in order to retie up those and provide incentives for the holders to do that. We're now at the point where we're doing supply restrictions in order to manage that supply so that we can have a healthy balance between the coin allocations that are in the hands of the holders so that there's balance with the liquidity. The third problem, obviously, I spoke to, which is no liquidity. And so our solution for that was the LP or the liquidity pool incentives, additional seed capital raise in order to raise liquidity, and of course, to reduce the supply to manage that balance. Problem number 4 was the marketing funds, listing fees, and running capital. So the marketing and listing solution was to reduce the supply so the marketing is more effective. If you do have too much supply and you start bringing in holders, what ends up happening when the supply is too much, it's hyperinflationary. People just start basically selling all the new money that's coming in, and it really doesn't go to liquidity and the project doesn't grow. So that's the huge problem. The second solution that we had was to raise capital through a fixed fund with VCs, and we're in the process of doing that right now. We'll go next. So let's just take a step back and look at kind of the numbers that Nick presented. One of these numbers is wrong, and I'll speak to that in a second, but the total supply, as you know, for VITRUVEO, our max supply is 250 million. The total supply is 60 million. At 60 million, if that was in circulation, that's about a $12 million market cap, somewhere around there at 20 cents. We would probably need about $3.6 million in liquidity to manage that supply. They recommend around 30% of the for the liquidity in order to manage healthy trading. Anything less than that, with a low market cap project, you're going to run into problems. Once you start getting larger, like BNB or ETH or something like that, you don't need 30% at all. You can go down into the 1 to 5% range. But whenever you're first start launching out, there's a lot of volatility, and the liquidity tends to be lower. So you need a little bit higher liquidity to supply ratio. The circulating supply is about 7.6 million that we have right now. That's about a $1.6 million market cap, somewhere around there. And the target should be around about 500,000 in liquidity is where we should be with that supply in order for healthy trading. And the way you guys have to think about this is imagine the liquidity is just a big bowl of soup. We talked about this in the mod meeting, and I think it was Didi who offered the analogy, and it's a really good analogy. You have to imagine that all the liquidity, meaning the money that's in the project, is just a big bowl of soup, and all the investors and holders all have their spoons. And some people have little toothpicks for spoons. They don't have a very big bag at all. They just kind of dip it in there. And some people have a giant, massive spoon, which would be considered a whale. So there's all different types of spoons. And then you have, how many spoons do you have? So there's, you might have 10,000 spoons, and then each of those spoons have a different size. And so that can create a liquidity issue. So it's important to make sure that there's balance. Right now, in the bridge right now, which is really the high risk, that's the active supply. I put 1 million, but I forgot to add the wrap VITRU, so it's around 1.7 as Nick stated. We really do need about 60 to 120,000 worth of liquidity. At the 1 million mark, it's about 60,000, 70,000, somewhere in there, which we do have, which is fine. But once you start getting into closer to 2 million, we really need about 120,000 in liquidity in order to manage that supply and to have healthy trading. Otherwise, what ends up happening is, let's say somebody with a large spoon comes in, it can create a huge issue for price volatility. And then you start to see red candles. And then the marketing that we spend, people don't come in because they see the price is falling. So in order to, the more liquidity you have, if a whale does exit, it's not a big issue because the price just comes down a bit. You can typically recover fairly quickly, but if there's a huge imbalance in the liquidity versus the supply, it doesn't work. You can spend a lot of money in marketing and it's just going to go out the back door. So with liquidity, USDC, about say 1.180,000, we should be able to go to market with that, no problem. We would prefer to be around 120,000, as I said. But then you can increase your marketing and prepare for the SEX list upon additional seed capital. So we're hoping that we can fill in that gap with additional seed capital that's coming in over the next 2 weeks, and then we can have healthy trading. We'll go next. Okay, so the SEX list roadmap, Nick alluded to this in a previous slide. If you look at the gray box, the gray box versus the green box, the gray box would be our total supply of around 60 million tokens, circulating supply about 7.6. And a lot of people will say, well, I don't understand. 60 million supply is so low for a blockchain. Yes, you're right, but that's with liquidity. So if we had liquidity, we wouldn't have any issues with price. We wouldn't have any issues with launch or list or anything like that. Everything is great. The price has the potential to skyrocket. But when there's an imbalance between the supply and liquidity, that's where we run into issues. And so we've got to manage that. So with the OG supply of the 7.6 million, we're going to manage granted coins, do a slow release of liquidity so that we can build. So that, that's your vested coins, your perch, your vaults, all of that. So we're going to continue to convert traders into rev share. So that way we can basically push that liability down by staking through, say, 36 months or 24 months or 5 years. That gives us enough time to build liquidity in order to manage that supply. We can give people smaller spoons, so that would be like a swapping. Some people are exiting right now, which is totally fine because they're exiting at a much lower price. Now's the time to exit. We can reduce the active supply through staking and LP pools, and we can restrict supply until sufficient liquidity and then do a slow release, which is our plan. When we look at the green box, we have the bridge, which is active. That's really the high risk in terms of affecting the price. 1 million to 1.7 million, as Nick stated, and we kind of covered that. But under the central exchange supply, or what's bridged, we're going to continue to manage larger wallets in order to reduce the spoon size, to encourage staking and to encourage LP pools and that sort of thing, and swapping or staking for Verse. We're going to continue with LP incentives over the next 2 weeks, which we'll be revisiting in probably next week. We're going to continue to focus on VC fundraising for Flix Fund, for liquidity marketing, and our alpha launch for Flix Fund. So that's kind of everything. That way we can then focus, once the supply is in check, then we can focus on marketing and increase that, because the marketing is going to be effective due to there being parity between liquidity and supply. That way we can market, get new holders, and then we can also have more liquidity pool providers. So we'll go next. Yeah, and that's it. That's kind of a summary.
All right. Thank you for that, Mike. Appreciate it. All right,
Sure.
Let's continue now. And now we're going to get into some of the things that we've already talked about in the flashlight, but want to repeat it for folks who may not have been here. So as I mentioned, I'll kind of whiz through them quickly because you can go and look at the flashlight if you want a whole lot more detail. The main thing is we've introduced VITRUVEO staking. So let's talk about how that works and what it entails. So first of all, VITRUVEO token is our VITRUVEO DEX token, and we are committed to rolling out a new VITRUVEO staking program in this month. And the program will have two key tenets: no APR and a minimum 180-day stake, a maximum stake of whatever you want, but a minimum of 180. So the idea here is that the VITRUVEO token, when staked, is earning you money in two ways. The first way is 0.25% LP fee on our DEX. So we currently have it at 0.30, and so you'll get a majority of that. Now, this will be available when we upgrade our DEX. We have been planning that for a bit now, but again, due to the number of priorities, it's probably gone a little lower because the current DEX functions fine, but could use some more charts and things like that, which is the primary reason to upgrade. The next thing is we are introducing Launch Drop, which is the ability for any new token on the VITRUVEO chain to supply a portion. We recommend 2% of their supply to the VITRUVEO stakers, to the VITRUVEO staking contract. So we are planning on creating our own launchpad, and we are going to make this a feature of that launchpad. But right now, voluntarily, if any token projects want to do that, we welcome that. That would be a great gesture of goodwill for the community. So when someone adds tokens through Launch Drop, they would provide the number of tokens, and they would provide a lockup period. So all the wallets that have VITRUVEO staked in a contract for at least 30 days would be eligible for that. They would get 1% of that Launch Drop immediately into their wallets, and the remaining 99% would be locked up for the period that the token wants. So that's the lay of the land. I have a little visual here that indicates that. So if you're got VITRUVEO staked for the first 30 days, you don't get any rewards, but immediately after 30 days, you start accruing those fees once we have the DEX, and then right away with any new Launch Drop tokens. So with Launch Drop tokens, keep in mind that 1% gets into your wallet right away, 99% after the lockup period. And as an example, if using a fictitious Acme token, if it was Launch Dropped, and let's assume you had 1,000 VITRUVEO staked, so about a million of that Acme token is Launch Dropped with a lockup period of 6 months. So, and the total VITRUVEO that has been staked, in addition to your including your 1,000, is 3 million. So you can see that your pro rata share of that Launch Drop would become 333 tokens, and instantly you could claim 3 tokens, and the remaining you would be claiming after 6 months. So it is supremely advantageous to stake VITRUVEO because you'll be getting a diverse bag of tokens. Every token that goes through our future launchpad or now voluntarily, you get those tokens, and it's a great and a very effective way of building long-term income. And very pleased to report that we already announced it on the flashlight, but we'll talk about more here. Is the Savo X token is going to be Launch Dropped directly in there as part of the program, of the Launch Drop program. So we're very excited about that. All right, now it's time to do a bit of a brand reveal, which has already been revealed. So this won't be new to everyone because we did it in the flashlight. But for those who are attending first, here is the name of our movie vertical, Flix Fund Film Ventures, and that's the logo. Very excited about that. Thank you so much, Mike and Age, who worked on that. But Flix Fund, I love the name. It speaks directly to what we want to do in the movie business, which is we want to change how movies are capitalized and movie projects are funded. We are not interested in using blockchain technology for changing movie licensing in terms of digital rights management, etc., because we don't think that's a problem that needs to be solved. But the funding of movies is a problem that needs to be solved, and we are very keen on funding it with Flix Fund. All right, moving right along, let's talk about the tokenomics of Flix Fund. And as I said again, there's a lot of detail on this, and I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it here again because it's repetitive. But I do want to share some of the changes. So in previous spotlights, we have talked about the verse and tokenomics. Now we call it Flix Fund tokenomics because that's what we're getting into. But we had a different set of allocations for team, for public investors, for community, which added up to 50 million units. Now, this number of units impacts the per verse unit revenue, and we've changed that significantly. And in a second, I'm going to take you to the calculator and show you exactly what the impact is. And the net impact is significant. So we've reduced this to 12 million. So team becomes 2, public investors 5, and community becomes 5 million. Now, if you go to scope and if you go to verse projector, this is our what if, essentially. This is the what if tool. It's not any kind of financial guidance or anything like that. It's simply a what if tool for you to calculate if you have whole verse units, what would that entail in terms of long-term income? Well, what we've done with this change here, we've reduced this number, which is used to compute the per unit rev share, from 50 million to 12 million. And as a result, what's happened is that you would see that this number jumps up, the income per unit. So previously, our projections in this calculator had the per unit income in 5 years at around $2, a little over $2, and now it's a little over $5. So this is, again, a projector. It's not financial advice, but we've been through this in the last spotlight where we indicated that our strategy is very focused on finding movie projects that have moderate success rate and reducing the failure rate and the break-even rate, but increasing the moderate rate. It would be great if we could crank out a lot of blockbusters, but we know that that's very, very difficult to do. But it is very much possible to have moderate success films that give you anywhere from 2 to 4x returns, and that's what we are looking to do. So with this calculator, you can change the what ifs around, and based upon that, you can see how the numbers change. So by changing these tokenomics, we've impacted that number significantly. So now you're probably wondering, well, what happens? Where did the public investors go? Well, they're still there. They're still there, but because we are choosing a different model, that impact can be felt. What we're doing is essentially splitting up how the public investors get their return and what token they work with. So previously, it was designed where the public investors would actually get directly a Verse NFT with the units in it. And now we have separated that. We've kept Verse as a rev share token, which is what its intent is, and not added the complexity of being an investable token into it. Instead, what we've done is, now that we have the brand Flix Fund, we will have a Flix Fund token, and we'll be able to have investors buy that on the launchpad. And then investors have a choice. They can either trade those Flix Fund tokens on the DEX, which is what happens when you have a launchpad. In our case, we're trying to identify which one. For example, Pink Sale is one of them. So you can trade directly on the DEX after the sale is done, or you can burn your Flix Fund tokens for Verse. We don't expect that all the investors will do it, but we expect a sizable number with, and that's where we get this number. So our allocation of this number of 5 million. So this is the allocation of approximately how many units we expect that investors will acquire from burning their Flix Fund token. So that's the new model of the tokenomics, and we feel it's a better model, and it's actually more beneficial to the community, more beneficial in terms of rev share, because it reduces the number of total Verse units and therefore increases the per unit rev share. All right, with that done, let's look at some of the movie projects that we are looking at for 2025. Some of these are already on IMDb, so let's quickly snap through them here. So the first one, The Cellist. This one stars Dermot Mulroney. That's great. He's currently on Chicago Fire and has done a bunch of other movies. You can scan the QR code and find this information on IMDb. Next one is Broken Chains. which is a movie about a hardened ex-biker consumed by hate and regret, and finds an unlikely mentor and helps him confront the past. So this is movie number two. Next one, which is I think my favorite. I'm excited to see this one because it's so much about blockchain. It's about a medical thriller where a cancer cure is encrypted into the blockchain to prevent its destruction, and there's corporate greed and things like that. So that's cool. And then, of course, we have Sabong Evolution, the animated movie, which is really looking cool. If you saw some of the previews that are on the Sabong Evolution website, it looks really, really cool. And this is about a futuristic rooster hero and his team of cybernetic animal warriors. And next two movies are all about snakes. So there's zombie snakes, and where a research facility is accidentally overrun by genetically engineered zombie snakes. So that looks interesting, and not sure if this is a follow up or just an entire one, but it's zombie snakes in a tower. So trapped in a luxury high rise. Partygoers face a nightmare as zombie snakes slither upwards. Hey, this brings back for me memories of Die Hard. And as I was saying in the flashlight, this is a case for John McClane to take on. So yeah, some great movie projects there. We'll have more to share with you, and we'll have more on IMDb. This is just a quick teaser to share with you what we are kind of working on. All right. And if you want to read more about these, you can go to creativefilms.com, our partner here, /FlixFund, and you can see all these movie projects in more detail. All right. That is the topic for about movies. Let's move on here and talk now about the launch drops. So the first Vitruveo launch drop for the staking for the Vitro staking is going to be from Savo. So thank you very much to Sabong Evolution and Garfield. It's going to be 5 million tokens with a 12-month lockup. So that is a very, very generous and exciting deal. So artists, remember I was talking earlier about if you stake, you get some benefits. Well, this is one of them. You are going to get some free Savo tokens and be eligible for them if you stake. So be sure to do that. All right. So the other thing is people have been swapping Vitro all this time with no expectation of getting their Vitro back. And we've changed the rules now. So with Vitro, with the swaps that are happening with Verse right now, we are going to auto convert them into stakes. They'll be converted into 180-day stakes, and we'll also reverse date them to 30 days. So they'll become eligible for the Savo launch drop. I'm very pleased to report that before the flashlight, we had, I would say, around 3 million Vitro in the contract for having swapped for Verse. And I believe now the number is close to 12 million. Yeah, so a significantly large number of people have seen that they're not going to lose their Vitro. They can keep it. And so this stake makes a lot of sense. All right. And now comes the news about the challenge. So this has been dominating all the conversation in Discord the past few days. Garfield has issued a challenge that if we can get to a stake number of 20 million Vitru, then there's a significant airdrop from Savo, which is 20 million coins. So that has really excited our community. It's lit things up, and we are very excited now. I have updated a scope here, so we have some real-time visibility into what's happening with the challenge. So right now we can see that we've got 17.3 million staked and 2.7 million to go. So all of you who have Vitru in your wallets, this is the best time for you to stake it, because not only do you get Savo airdrop, you also, while you're staked, you will get your rebases. But there's one more huge reason why you should do it, and that is I'll get to the 20 million here, but that is your Vitru is going to be your Verse is going to be doubled. So currently, when you stake, you get one Verse per Vitru, but if you reach the 20 million goal, you are going to double your Vitru. So you've got the exciting 20 million Savo tokens airdropped by the Sabong project, and double up on the Verse if we hit that goal. Now, keep in mind, though, that depends and is contingent on hitting that goal. If the 20 million is not achieved, then there's going to be 0 SAVO tokens airdropped, and we will not have the double up on the verse. So we are looking pretty good here. The remaining units have increased, have decreased as more and more people are staking. Now, a question I hear all the time is, if everyone stakes and we reach our goal, we will not have enough units remaining. Do not be concerned about that. We will draw units from the team allocation if necessary to make that goal happen. So I'm not worried about that at all. The key thing is to get to our goal here and get this to 20 million. So if we can get to 20 million by Jan 31, then there's 20 million SAVO tokens and double verse that is waiting for you. So this is a really great promotion, and I'm excited that everyone's really stepping up to it. All right, next up is, let's talk about Exhibit. So I want to make sure that people are aware that, sometimes during these spotlights we focus on one vertical or the other. That doesn't mean that we don't have progress being made. In fact, there is a lot of work being done on Exhibit for some of the key initiatives that we are rolling out. I've mentioned that before. We've got True Level coming up. Right now with True Level, we are just waiting for Synapse to approve our KYC plan. So we've waited about a week on that, and hopefully they'll get it approved this week, and we can move forward with True Level. But today, what I want to show you is some of the changes that are coming in Exhibit in order to support our stores initiative and also our print on demand initiative. So let's go ahead and start with what's happening with our print on demand. So what this is on QA, so it's not live. All these artworks may be real artworks, but they are in QA. So let's look at one of these here. Let's see. I've got to pick one of these here. Okay, let's pick one of Doc's artworks here and go to it. Now, the change that you're about to see might seem very trivial, but it's a really, really important change from an architectural perspective. If you recollect, and actually, let me just show you what we have right now that's live and what you're seeing in QA. So let's go to this here. You can see here that this is currently optimized for the artwork with one license, a digital artwork license. It just appears here. You see all the details. What we are moving toward is to change this so that you can have an infinite number of potential licenses. And the UI for that is not done, but the architecture is done. So let's go to that. So here's how the architecture is changing. It looks sparse. I know it looks empty because we haven't done the UI yet. It'll come. But here's the change. We've made it so all kinds of licenses will appear here. And right now, only the one is in production. There'll be the print one is coming up. But when you click on it, what happens is that in this case, I haven't connected yet. So it's going to require me to connect my wallet. I'll do that. There we go. Let's see. I should do that. Sorry about that. I actually have not logged into my wallet, which is why it's having that problem. Okay. This is the thing with beta software. So it looks like that is having a problem. Anyway, so what I wanted to demonstrate is the fact that we have a dialog. We have an application dialog that comes up specifically for the license, and then you'll be able to license here, have a complete experience for whatever the license is. So in this case, it's one artwork, and you see that it's a button. It's not very exciting, but imagine this dialog expanded now, and you've clicked on a print license button, and you see all the products, you see the artwork in there, you get to choose sizes, variants, you get to do shipping, all of that. So we are increasing the footprint of Exhibit so we can have different types of licenses. And like I said, we'll start off with print on demand. So this architectural change was necessary for us before we go to print. Sometimes with software, you have to take one step back in order to take two steps forward. And this is the case of it, where now we've got the architecture in place where we can plug in as many licenses as needed, and they'll all show up here. in a nice UI, we'll obviously, this space is here for a reason, and we'll get that going. So that's one feature that's coming up. The next feature I want to show you is that in Studio, our stores feature is starting to come alive here. We are getting ready to roll it out. Where this is phase one. It's two phases, but you are able to create your own store, and it creates it. You can choose your URL, and it will. You can upload your assets, your logo, your banners, etc. It shows you a preview, and then it allows you to actually preview your site live. So I think I can go to Horizon now that I'm working on it. .exhibit.live, and let's see, there we go. So yeah, and that will show the filter, etc. Now I don't have everything working yet with my account, so it doesn't, but you can see how the URL works. So when I in these spotlights, I show you things that are very early, so it might not seem all perfect and all that. You might not get the gist of exactly how it's going to work, but I like to show it anyway, because this is how we are progressing with development. So this is the wildcard. We call it wildcard, the ability for you to have different URLs. You put your name, and the store comes up with your selected creators, for example, or selected subset of artworks, and you're able to upsell. You're able to charge a fee beyond what the artist has asked for in there. So that is also coming up. So those are the two main things that we expect to release here in the next week on Exhibit. And let's see. I think that is it for the topics for today. Yes, that is it. So thanks everyone, and let's go to questions now.
Okay. Can you hear me, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay. So I haven't started anything. I've been kind of following the chat log here, and I don't have a lot of questions. People are very excited about the 20 million staking. We did have some questions about, oh, well, what about the whales? What about the whales? Again, the vast majority of the whales are locked up. So the critical is analyzing the bridged and the wrap VITRUVEO and looking at the wallets within that. And that's going to be our focus over the next week. So we'll address that.
Yeah, I'm looking through the questions here.
Here's one question. Will stores be embeddable into websites?
You could iframe it, but it would not be a very good experience. We have other solutions for that. We have widgets, etc., that we'll be able to embed certain, like a carousel of artworks and things like that. A store is intended to be for an organization or a group. So for a gallery or a collective or a museum or things like that. So we don't necessarily feel that there's value to embedding it into a website, because there's all the functionality, right? You can have your own store, and you can offer print on demand, etc., of your artworks. So I don't think we would want to offer it as embeddable as a solution. We can do it, but we won't market it that way.
Yeah, I saw a question in Discord, Nick, about the VITRUVEO staking, how that affects the $20 million staking. Did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, the VITRUVEO staking is not part of that because there was a separate 5 million Sevo launch drop. So the 20 million challenge is for VITRUVEO staking only. Yeah, because remember, we are trying to reduce the supply of VITRUVEO. That's the goal. So
some people were suggesting, well, why not exchange then? Swap your VITRUVEO for VITRUVEO and then stake. So that was one of the suggestions, but I think that just comes from the Treasury, doesn't it?
No.
How about that?
That would be on the DEX. That's the only way I can think of. So as long as there's liquidity there, yeah, you could do that. But then keep in mind that you would. There are two separate options, right? your VITRUVEO staking gives you the ability to get in all the future tokens and things like that. Also, the DEX LP fees, and the VITRUVEO staking gets you in onto the 20 million challenge and verse. So you have to choose. You have to choose. Maybe you divide. Do things that way.
Yeah. Does the bridged VITRUVEO include VITRUVEO used for liquidity in PancakeSwap?
The bridge VITRUVEO is the only VITRUVEO that is used for liquidity in PancakeSwap, because it's not possible to be on PancakeSwap without bridging. So
Yeah.
all the VITRUVEO that's sitting there is either liquidity or sitting in people's wallet who want to sell.
Yeah, guys, feel free to ask questions while you have us on here. I know it's been back to back with the flashlight and the spotlight, but if you do have questions that you'd like answered right now, let us know, and we can address those.
So here, I have a question. When the community succeeds in reaching the total stake number of 20 million, one bonus is going to be doubling the number of verses that people hold. It means that 5 million added to 12 million. Where's that 12 million coming from? Yeah, no, I get it. It's from this. Excuse me. It's from this slide. Yeah, no, the there's a community number here of 5 million. That's where that's coming from. So this is the verse allocation. And like I said, if we have to go over, we'll dip into this team marketing one and make sure that everyone is whole. So there is absolutely no scenario in which if you hit the 20 million, that we wouldn't double the verse. We have the inventory for it.
Here's a question. Hi, team. Could you please confirm that the upcoming protocol update will finally fix all the scope issues with Vibe not visible, claimable, etc.?
They're completely unrelated issues. And no, a protocol update is not going to change anything there. There are very few people who have issues in scope. That is literally a handful of accounts. So and that we explained, was a glitch for just those folks. It's a very easy workaround. You transfer to one wallet and then transfer back, and the problem gets solved. But I understand that it's not practical for some folks. So our goal is to upgrade the Vibe contract, but currently, given the number of things we are working on, it is not a high priority. But it will be upgraded, and those problems will be resolved. But protocol update doesn't impact any smart contract at all.
Hey, Mystique, nice to see you. She asked if we'll be joining them on Space, on the X Space on Sunday.
Yeah, I always make an effort to be on there if I can. So yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Still hoping for 2 exchanges at launch, or just one now? Just one for now. But we do have some great announcements that we'll be launching or discussing next Friday that will touch on some of these. So yeah, you'll just have to wait.
So Oljag, originally when we launched Studio, we already had a print, the ability to upload a print file, but there were some issues with creators who were unable to create those high-res files, and that prevented them from moving forward with consignment. And so we removed that option. We will be bringing it back, but making it optional. The file size is 12,000 by 8,000 or 8,000 by 12,000, depending on whether you're landscape or portrait, and 12,000 by 12,000 pixels if it's square. But yeah, we do require a high res file in order to enable that print license for an artwork. Anything less than that is not going to work. So that is a standard size because a lot of the objects on which we would want to print is that standard 3:2 ratio, and it's also the same ratio that we use for the exhibition display also. So one of the things that we've been striving to do is to get artists to standardize more on sizes that are more in line with display devices, television screens, etc., uh, canvas prints, things like that. So we're gonna gently steer artists to having that. Of course, you can have your original at whatever dimensions you want, but if you want to avail of a license, it will have very strict and very fixed aspect ratio, and you will need to comply with that. You have to crop your artwork or redo it in your original art program in order to show it. 12K by 12K, Arjun says, is way more than 4K. Yes, but it is way less than what is needed for print. So 12K by 8K is for print. If someone is buying a large print of your artwork, we don't want it to appear all fuzzy. We want it to appear crisp and clean and nice. So yeah.
Yeah. Is Vitro still a good token, or does it need to be converted to something? Yes, absolutely. Vitro is our DEX token. That would be the equivalent of, let's say, the Binance Smart Chain. They have BNB as the coin, and Cake is their DEX token. So Vitro is our version of Cake for the Vitruveo chain. And because we're a newer blockchain that's going to be listing on Central Exchange here in a couple of weeks, it's a great price. I don't know what Cake is trading at. I think it was around, I don't know, $4 or something like that. It might be more than that. It might be less. But to pick up a tier one DEX token for a penny is a great value. So we would definitely encourage you to stake it for Verse. You get the stake, you get the tokens back in 36 months, right, Nick?
Yeah.
For Vitro, yeah.
Yeah.
So 36 months, you get it back, and you have a revenue stream from our movie vertical. So it's a great way to handle that.
All right, I think that's it for and like I said, we shared a lot of the information on Wednesday, so we don't have enough today. But Phantom here is asking, when are we going to make it bi-weekly so we don't have to? Yeah, trust me, my Thursday nights and Friday mornings are dominated with preparing for this, and in a way, we are going through this time right now where there are so much information, etc. So it's good to connect with the community on a weekly basis. But yeah, I think probably Q2, I would say we should start going and making these less frequent, because we'll be more stable then, and the development cadence will be more well defined. But right now we are still in MVP mode for a lot of things, right? So I think the weekly format is good. It's a lot of work, but I like to keep our community updated.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, we're also seeing price recovery. As you know, we had a whale that exited, over the last couple of weeks. That wallet is now at a zero balance of Vitru. So we're seeing price recovery, and we're right in line with marketing and our pre-sex list. So just a quick update on that.
Yeah, I'm again challenging all our creators that look here. We've got 2.70 million remaining. We've got 383K that can potentially reduce this number. So let's do it. Go into Studio, click that claim button, and move that slider, the last slider you have, to 95% or 100%. And you will help us out. You will help yourself also, because you will then be eligible for income from the movie vertical, which, as you can see from the projects we share, etc., is coming up very, very fast. You also get SavoX tokens, which is an incredible project. I'm very excited for that project. So yeah, we've got a lot of things going on. I'm seeing in my Discord here that the team has already identified some of the print-on-demand catalog pieces. So yeah, it's coming together really well. I cannot wait to be able to click on an artwork and have it show up then as a print that we can put on a wall or wear on a shirt or something like that. That's great. Okay, guys, this is it. We are looking forward to successful culmination of the 20 million staking challenge. Let's rise to it. Let's get it going. I have every faith in the community that we'll get it done. I saw the movement yesterday, especially in the morning, and it was going fast, and people were staking, etc. So let's keep that momentum going. We've got our goals up here divided up, so we've still got 2.5 days, well, a day and a half actually, to get this 256K. So let's get more staking done. Everyone does their part, and we can, and you don't. Yeah, I talked about the vaults and all that, but look, right now we have 30K wallets, and that's an average of 90, just 90 Vitru per wallet, and we can meet our goal. So it's a matter of communicating to everyone, and making sure that everyone is aware that small amounts make a difference. It will move the needle, and that's all we needed to do. So of these 30K wallets, if everyone does 90 or so, we'll get there like that. It'll be fast and great. So with that, we'll wrap up this. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Appreciate you attending it. Appreciate you being in the community and all the support. And we'll wrap this and have a good weekend.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.